Okay. I'm very interested in this call and apprehensive, and I'm all right. Here's what we're gonna do. Let me make sure that I've got the banner ready. Yeah, I do. Okay. Timothy, I may be misinterpreting what you're calling it on. So here's what I'm going to do is say, Timothy from Illinois, you're on the line with Matt and Jimmy. I'm going to give you a full, what do you want? 1 minute, 2 minutes to make your case here?
I'll just take a minute.
All right. We'll give you a full
Can
minute.
you hear me?
Yeah, sure can.
Yeah.
Are you on speakerphone?
I'm
or
muting
anything?
and taking notes.
Sure. You're a little bit muffled. So if you're on speakerphone, let's switch off of that. But if this is the best we got, let's do this.
That's the best I got. Sorry.
No worries. All right, hang on. I'm starting the timer. Go ahead, starting now. We won't interrupt you for a full minute at minimum. Go ahead.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I watch your show from time to time, and I mean, just I'm curious as to why you want to know things from us when you really don't care anyway. So that kind of bothers me. I mean, if you know where I'm coming from, if you don't want nothing to do with the religion, then why don't you leave that alone? I mean, just go about your way.
Is that the entirety of your question, or do you want the remaining 30 seconds or so?
No, I'm fine. I want to know why you do that.
All right, Timothy, I'm gonna ask you a few questions before responding. What do you think my motivation is?
I don't know. Are you really curious? Do you really?
Let's just say for the show itself. What do you think my motivation for the Sunday, or Matt's, what our motivation for doing the Sunday show is? Why do you think we do this show?
Well, I think you know that there possibly could be some proof for you, the way you would understand it or whatever. Okay. And I think that's why you ask questions.
Okay, so
This
you
is
think
really weird.
Yeah, I know. So in your estimation, the motivation is if somebody out there does have good proof, we want them to call in and tell us what that proof is, correct?
Yeah, but you still have to, I mean, I know you considered it and you listen, but it seems like the same old repetitive over and over. Nobody's ever.
So let me ask you this, Timothy. If somebody calls in with bad proof, put yourself in my position. What do you think would be the benefit of myself or Matt having the conversation with the person about bad proof that they have? From my perspective.
Let me tell you how I understood it.
No. Start with this.
I've never seen God.
Timothy, let's just answer my question. Yeah. Let's answer my question first, and then we'll let you talk about your thing. From my point of view, pretend you're me or pretend you're Matt. Somebody calls in and their proof is bad. Let's say that I even could see on their caller notes from the screener, I already know that their proof is bad. What would be the motivation for somebody like me, a secular humanist, an activist, a person who engages in these conversation debates? Why would I want to have that conversation anyway, even knowing that their motivation is bad? Do you know the answer to that? Can you guess what it is? Can you think about that as an experiment right now?
Well, I think down deep inside that there could be a possibility, and you would want to know. You would want to know if there really was a God.
Okay.
Right?
The question is specifically, why would I engage in a conversation with someone I know who has bad proof? So I'm just going to explain it to you very briefly.
Okay. Go ahead.
If somebody calls with bad proof, I'm not only here for me. I am also here for people who are watching. In fact, the audience is the main people we're here for. The people who are watching, who are genuinely questioning too, who maybe have not heard that argument or may not know why that argument is bad. So if someone calls in with the fine-tuning argument, and I see that that's the argument that they're going to use, I'm still going to answer the call because a person who is watching and the caller themselves may have never had it articulated in a satisfactory way why that is a bad argument. And so we get emails all the time, Matt and I both, about how our show has helped the different people in their deconstruction, both being able to see how things that they used to believe in were on shaky grounds, and being able to better articulate things that they were aware of or knew, but didn't necessarily know how to put the words together. I'm going to give you to Matt now, because I just wanted to run through those couple of things and help you sort of think about your question from the perspective of myself or Matt, because I thought that would be more useful. Matt, do you have questions for this guy?
Well, I have lots of questions, but I guess, Timothy, I took notes while you were talking, and you said you're curious as to why we want to know things from theists when we really don't care anyway. Yet when we asked you why you think we're doing it, everything you said suggested that you think we really do care. So let's back up.
Yeah.
Let's back up, because if you're going to accuse me of not caring, and then when we ask questions, you then suggest I do care, I don't know what your take is. Do you think I don't care about theistic claims?
Yeah, I do think you care.
Okay, then
Sorry
why
if
did you
you-
say we? Why did you say we really don't?
Right.
Why did you say we really don't care?
Well, I've heard some pretty harsh things. You know, over a period of time
Timothy,
of listening to you.
Timothy,
Yeah.
you just said you think we do care, and now I'm asking you if
Are
you
you
think we
curious?
care. Holy crap! If you think we care, why did you accuse us of not caring?
Well, I don't know. I misspoke. I'm sorry.
You misspoke, and yet you doubled down on it just a second ago. It's very confusing. So let's skip all of that. Let's set all of that aside. Do you think that you have a good reason to believe in a God?
Well, that would be how I came to know. And it's possible if I said how I didn't find it out.
I asked a yes or no question. Do you think that you have a good argument for God?
Yes.
Okay. If the answer is yes, which you just said, then why wouldn't you call in and present that argument instead of claiming that we don't care about it or complaining about how we do things? Like, I'd love to know what you think a good argument for the existence of God is. I care more about that than I do about your opinion of whether or not we care. So would you like to restart the call and maybe talk about why you think we should believe in God?
Sure. I'll restart the
Cool.
call.
Here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday show. We're moving on to another caller. We've got Timothy here in Illinois. Pronouns are he, him. Timothy wants to talk to us about why he believes in God and why he thinks we should also believe in God. So, Timothy, what's the best reason you can think of for believing in a God?
Well, I've been brought up in church all my life, and the way I heard the minister speaking when I was a child, it was all about, rules. If you didn't obey, and, it's all about rules and stuff like that. And when I actually got to reading it for myself, I was reading something different in the Bible. And that wasn't God at all. God was about walking alongside of you in your everyday life, helping you, guiding you, speaking from within inside through his word. And that's how I came to know Christ.
Okay.
And it became a reality. And it's not how you would accept it. I can't say you would accept it that way. But is it real? Yeah, it's real to me.
No, so first of all, wow, it's like you can't even hear me talk.
Yeah.
So something doesn't become reality. It's either real or not. You have to discover something about reality. So when I ask you, what's a good reason to believe in God? You said that you've been brought up in a church. The way you heard the minister speaking, it was all about rules and obeying. But then when you read it for yourself, you found something different, that it was about God helping you, guiding you, speaking through his word inside of you. And that made it real. How do you tell when God is guiding you or when you think God is it possible? Let me stop. Let me ask you a different question. Is it possible that someone could think that God is guiding them and they're wrong?
Yeah. Well, that's possible.
Okay. Then how do we tell the difference? Hang on.
Mm-hmm.
How do we tell the difference between someone who's actually getting guidance from God and someone who thinks they're getting guidance from God, but they're not?
Well, that's outside of me.
No, no, sir. Because you're someone who thinks that God is guiding you, correct?
Yeah, it's not me.
Okay. Now, you have to be able to tell me, how can we tell whether you're actually being guided by God or whether you think you're being guided by God, but you're not?
Well, it's a witness, inner witness. You know about
no,
that.
sir.
You've been a religious person.
Yes, I used to believe, and then I found out I didn't have a good reason for believing, which is why I'm addressing your bad reason for believing. If you think that God is guiding you, could you be wrong?
I am a lot, because
Okay.
I don't hear his
So
voice like clear as a bell. No.
The issue here, wow, why is this so difficult? I'm asking the simplest yes or no questions. How do you now this
Okay.
one's not a yes or no question. How can we tell the difference between when Timothy is being guided by God and when Timothy thinks he's being guided by God but is not? How do I tell the difference?
Well, like I said, there's an inner witness. Do you understand that?
No, Timothy. I'm asking
don't?
how to
Well,
tell.
then,
I'm asking Timothy, how do you tell the difference? So let me rephrase the question. How do you tell the difference between when God is guiding you and when you think God is guiding you, but he's not?
well, mistakes are made, and I don't listen clearly, and things go wrong.
Timothy,
And
here, let me try this a
what?
different way. Have you ever thought that God was guiding you and then later realized that you were mistaken and that was you and not God?
Yes,
Cool.
it happens all the
Thank you.
time, and we're Christians.
It happens all the time. Thank you. Now,
Yes.
if you don't have a way to tell if it's God, and you have many, many, many times thought that God was leading you only to discover that he didn't, how did you discover that he didn't, and why were you wrong to begin with?
Well, it's because every day, that's why I have to get in the Word, and it's not, like you said, I'm a human.
Timothy, you seem to fundamentally not understand the questions being asked of you. And there's a problem also with the beginning of when we asked you, why do you believe in God? What's your good argument for it? You started it by saying, the pastor read from the Bible and told me these things. And then when I read the Bible, I saw other things and realized that the pastor wasn't right. And in both cases, you started with the presumption of the Bible is true, right? So you actually didn't tell us a good argument for God. You didn't tell us a good argument for the Bible. You just told us that when you started your religious journey, you listened to a pastor who was reading from the Bible, and there you assumed the Bible was true. And then later when you read it for yourself, you disagreed with the pastor's interpretations, but you still started with the Bible is true. So let's try, instead of because you seem to fundamentally not understand the questions of how do you know when it's God and when it's you, because you seem to be saying that you don't, but later sometimes you find out when it doesn't work out the way you wanted it to, which is literally just textbook confirmation bias. When I ask God and it happens, it's God. When I ask God and it doesn't happen, it's not God. That's just confirmation bias. It's a fallacious way of thinking. So you started with the Bible being true. How do you know the Bible is true?
Well, why would I see it another way than that pastor was telling me? What was telling me that?
The pastor, or the family around you, or the people around you, or
the only two people involved in this right now are you and the pastor. You don't get to assume that there's a third person, a God or otherwise. The question Jimmy asked, no, there wasn't until you demonstrate there was. The question Jimmy asked, though, was why did you get to assume that the Bible is true? Or more accurately, why do you get to assume that your interpretation of the Bible is true?
Well, before I had any other influence, and I was a very young kid. I come to know years later that there were other people that had the same interpretation. How was that
How do you know
possible?
they're right?
I've never heard of them.
How do you know they're right?
I don't know. But
Okay.
How would they have the same interpretation? How could that
You
be
don't think,
possible? I've never had been influenced.
Timothy, you don't think that multiple people could read a book and come to the same conclusion and still be wrong?
Well, there's multiple people who come up with 1,000 different conclusions and read the same Bible.
Why is it when I ask you a fucking clear expositionary question, you seem to agree with it while avoiding it?
Well, it's hard to articulate it to you guys, but I'm just trying. I'm trying to be nice.
Hard.
Stop trying
You're
to be
just
nice
trying
and
to be
trying
nice.
to just answer
How
the
about
questions.
fuck being nice? How about we think clearly and address questions honestly? I don't care if you're nice. You don't get any extra points for being nice. The issue here, we're in agreement.
Yeah.
We're in agreement that you can be wrong about whether or not there's a God and whether or not that God's guiding you. Other people can be wrong about whether or not there's a God and whether or not the God's guiding them. Multiple people can read a book and come to the same but incorrect conclusions. All we've asked you is what method can we use to discern the truth? How did you determine the Bible was true? How do you tell when God is guiding you? Give us a mechanism by which we can determine the truth. That's it.
Yeah, I guess you just have to pray.
Is
Pray
it
about the
possible?
truth. Ask
Is
for the
it
truth.
possible?
Can you
Is
ask for
it
the truth?
possible? Is it possible to pray and not get to the truth?
No.
No. Okay, fine. I have prayed many, many, many times, and I do not agree with you. So that must mean I have the truth, and you're wrong and a liar.
Let me try this with you, Timothy.
Well, that
Timothy.
just makes you skeptical about everything.
No, sir, that makes me fucking right.
Timothy,
you just
you're
acknowledged
bad.
that if I pray, it's impossible to not get to the truth. I've prayed, and the truth is you're a liar.
Timothy, let's try this. Are you a Mormon?
Hey, I try not to lie,
Timothy.
but I did try to tell you the truth.
You failed.
Timothy, are you a Mormon?
No.
Do you believe Mormons are right, that they have the truth?
Maybe some are saved. I don't know.
No. Are they correct? Are they correct when they say Jesus Christ, after he was resurrected, went over to America and taught to the Native Americans and all of the changes that they've made to Christianity and all of the things, when they say that God and Jesus are two separate, completely separate beings? The doctrine of Mormonism, is the doctrine of Mormonism true? Is the Book of Mormon true?
No.
Okay.
Personally, I don't believe that.
Sure. Are you Muslim?
No.
Is the Quran true?
Personally, I don't believe it.
Are Muslims correct?
No.
Do Muslims pray?
They do.
Do Mormons pray?
Yes. Who are they praying to?
You earlier said they believe they're praying to God, and they call the name of God when they pray. Earlier, you said if you pray to God, you cannot get a wrong answer. So when Mormons pray to God, in fact, it's one of their scriptures. It's in Mormon 10, one of the last books of the Book of Mormon, actually Moroni 10. It might be verse 3. It actually asks you to pray and ask whether or not the Book of Mormon is true, and promises that if you do that, God will reply and tell you that it is true, as long as you call on God and you ask with sincere faith. And most Mormons who are baptized believe that they got witness, an inner witness from God, that the Book of Mormon is true. Muslims also believe that they have from God a witness that the Quran is true and that Islam is true. So earlier, you said that if you pray to God, you cannot get a wrong answer. So how do you reconcile that Mormons and Muslims have gotten answers that you believe are wrong from God?
I would have to know if they're praying to the right God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Okay, both of them are. Both of them are Abrahamic religions.
Well, that's good.
Both of them are Abrahamic religions. Mormons literally believe in the Christian God and basically believe they are Christian, and that the only thing that y'all got wrong is you didn't do enough, that the Bible wasn't enough, that God would have loved his people all over the world and written another Bible that's written in shittier English. So you've got that. You've got they're doing it, and then Muslims also pray to the Abrahamic God. It's the same God, and they're being told, yes, this is the true religion. How is that happening, Timothy?
Do they believe that Jesus Christ died and rose again?
Mormons do, Muslims don't.
Wow. Are you suggesting that somebody could pray to God? How many gods are there? How many actual real gods are there, Timothy?
Oh, probably 20,000 or more. How confusing is that for somebody wanting to know the truth?
20,000 or more real
You think
gods?
there are 20,000 gods that exist and are real?
Or I think you must think
No, there's 20,000 gods that people pray to. They can pray to a tree.
How many
Call
real
God.
gods are there?
There's one. There's one
Okay.
real God.
Cool. How do you know that?
Well, because like I said, I've had a.
The answer is you don't. The answer is you don't know that. So we'll skip that question.
Yeah, I do know that. But I
No,
can't.
you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you fucking
To me,
don't. Now,
I
let me
can.
finish. Let me finish my question. You don't know.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah.
assume that there's one God, and there's somebody out there who, in their desperation to discover the truth, says, God, I don't know who you are. I'm in this world where there are 20,000 supposed gods, and I only want to know the truth. Please help me and guide me to discover who you are and that you are the one true God. Is God going to answer that prayer or not?
Well, let me tell you how.
I
Get
asked
people
you,
who wanna listen.
is God going, shut your fucking pie hole. Listen to the question. Is God going to answer that prayer or not?
Yes.
How do you know?
He answered it for me. Am I somebody special?
But no, you're nobody special. Neither am I. Here's the
same
thing.
as all the other people who are
Here's the
mistaken.
thing. Here's the thing. You're suggesting that all of these other people who are part of other religions, that none of them ever reached out with a prayer like that. Because if they did, then God would reveal himself to them and they would not be a part of a false religion. They would agree with you because you're correct, right?
We'll go back to what I said. There probably
Are you
some
fucking
Muslims
correct? Why is it? No, I give up. Timothy,
that know
you
the
are
truth.
incapable. You are incapable of answering the question you're asked.
Yeah.
No, you're
I'm going to try it
rejecting
one
me.
more time, Timothy, because you
Oh,
seem
I'm not.
to not.
No. Hang on. Fuck you, Timothy. I'm not rejecting you. I'm sitting here patiently asking you a question, trying to guide you to the truth, which is that you don't have a clue how to demonstrate the truth of what you're claiming, and that you have said contradictory statements that rendered in a real world prove that you are not correct.
Yeah.
But you won't see that. And when I ask you a question, you want to answer a different question. Because the truth is, if someone who had been raised around Hindus prayed to the God that you believe in and said, would you reveal yourself to me? You think that God absolutely would. And so the question is,
They would
why
no
aren't there
longer be Hindus.
Hindus? Go away, Timothy. I no longer care. You aren't interested in the truth or listening. You aren't interested in answering the question. You are a coward who knows that you don't have a good reason.
Oh, I got plenty of good reasons.
Give
No,
us
you don't-
one, you fucking
You
coward.
live inside of me.
You haven't given us one.
You
All right,
don't know
Timothy.
that?
Timothy, I'm going to do this. I'm
Yeah.
going to do this one more time.
No, you don't know that.
I'm going to do this one more time
Yeah,
because
I
I've
do.
tried, Timothy, I'm going to do this one more time. I've
No,
tried
you
to
don't.
make this as simple as I can because so far, even making it simpler hasn't worked. You say, God lives inside me. That's how I know. I have many Mormon friends who say, God lives inside me. That's how I know. They very much say that. I have Muslim friends who say, God lives inside me. That's how I know. All of them speak to an inner witness. So I've got you, I've got tons of people who have called in before who have said the same thing, who believe in different religions than you. I have Mormons because I grew up Mormon. I have Mormon friends who say that. I have Muslim friends who say that. All of them say the exact same thing. God lives within me. He bears witness to me. That is how I know that he exists and that I have found the truth of his existence. All of you cannot be right.
Yeah.
Let me fucking finish. All of you cannot be right at the same time. You can all be wrong at the same time. So how do I find out which one of you is right, or if all of you is wrong? How do I find that out?
Exactly. And stop being skeptical.
Except how, if all of you are wrong.
Stop being skeptical.
Listen to what? What should I listen to, Timothy?
Well, the Bible says believe.
Why would I listen? I just said one of the options is that all of you are wrong. So if I listen to the Bible, I'm deciding that the Bible is true. Why would I start with the Bible is true?
To accept it.
Why? Why do I have to accept it? I just told you, Mormons believe the Book of Mormon is true. They accept it. Muslims believe the Quran is true. They accept it. By the way, Mormons also believe the Bible is true on top of the Book of Mormon. You don't think I should just accept those other books? What is the mechanism by which we go, this is a good reason to believe the Bible is true, but the Book of Mormon and the Quran aren't? What is the way we do that they can't do too? That a Muslim can't say, that a Mormon can't say? Say now something that neither of them can say that shows that the Bible is true.
Well, I don't know those other people.
It's not about knowing. Oh, yeah, you're a lost cause. Goodbye, Timothy. There's no point to this because you are either arguing dishonestly or your brain doesn't work.
No,
Goodbye. There's no point at that point. Like Jesus fucking Christ could not have made it simpler multiple times during the call. And it's just about, I don't want to answer this question. I want to answer the question I want to. And getting hung up on, I don't know those people. It wasn't about the individuals. It was about conceptually. You are conceptually your type of Christian. You don't believe in the Book of Mormon. You don't believe in the Quran. You've eliminated the Book of Mormon and the Quran in some way. What method of elimination of those doesn't apply to the Bible? Well, in the Bible says it's true. So that's what it would be. Circular reasoning, special pleading, and confirmation bias. Those may as well be Timothy's alternate legal names. Go down to the office that does those things. Hello, everyone. I'm Jimmy Snow, executive producer of The Line, and the rumors are true. Forrest Valkai is, in fact, a hostage in my basement. If you would like to contribute to his freedom one day, you can do so by supporting us over on Patreon or becoming a channel member. There are specific tiers for specific shows or the channel at large. You can also send us super thanks. Those are great. You can like, comment, and subscribe. Also, fudge the algorithm. Go to one of these things. The algorithm doesn't matter. It thinks it knows you better than we do, better than you do. I know you better, Hank. There's a bunch of people named Hank. I just freaked way out. Okay, go to one of these.